G'day everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we are starting a new series called Hit, Miss or Decent. This is where we'll go over different AFL draft classes first rounds and judge pick by pick whether a player was a hit, a miss, or more in between and rank them as decent. So in this edition today, I thought let's start off with the 2015 draft, given it's now 10 years ago since that draft did take place. And especially in this first round has it turned out to be a talented crop, stars left, right and centre. And of course, who could forget the draftees interviews back in 2015 on the AFL YouTube channel.
Simpsons tapped out.
Angry Birds Star Wars.
Oh, SoundCloud.
Yep, just had to add that one in. These are first round picks, so we do want to try and be as strict as possible with these rankings. And apart from that, if you're going to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So starting things off with pick 1, the Blues select 𝐓𝐡𝐞 𝐎𝐿𝐻𝐪, the key defender from Dandenong. That is of course a hit. From the get-go and to this day, 𝐎𝐿𝐻𝐪 has displayed himself as one of the toughest one-on-one defenders in the competition. A 200 gamer and 2-time John Nichols medal winner, he finally got rewarded with the heavily deserved All-Australian blazer in 2024, after a few AA squad appearances in a row. With pick 2, the Brisbane Lions selected 𝐵𝐵𝐶𝐶𝐵, the key position player out of Murray. That is a miss. Managed 27 games with his drafted side before seeking a trade back home at the conclusion of 2017, ending up at the Bulldogs for picks 25 and 40. Struggled to get consistent game time for 5 seasons at the kennel, but did feature in the late stages of the Dogs' 2021 grand final season. After being traded to Melbourne at the end of 2022, 𝐵𝐶𝐶𝐵 was delisted, playing just 4 senior games in 2 years. One in the end that just lacked the mongrel as a key position player. With pick 3, the Sydney Swans matched Melbourne's bid for academy midfielder Callum Mills. That's a hit. Although Mills has had his fair share of injury across the span of his career, the classy defender mid has showcased plenty of positives for the red and white. From winning the Rising Star in his first season to becoming the Sydney captain in 2022, alongside winning a 𝐵𝐵𝐶𝐿𝐻 medal and picking up his maiden All-Australian blazer in the same year. Then at pick 4, the Melbourne Demons decide to take midfielder Clayton Oliver from the Murray Bushrangers. That is a hit. Nowadays, it remains a question on if he can get back to his best in a new GWS environment, but what a servant he was to the Melbourne Footy Club. A 4-time best and fairest, 3-time All-Australian, 2-time Coaches' Votes winner, and of course starred in the Demons' 2021 Premiership run, branding himself as one of the very elite midfielders for a number of seasons. Back-to-back picks here for Essendon. With their first pick at pick 5, they take Darcy Parish, the midfielder from Geelong. Decent. Perhaps it might be a tad harsh to throw him in the decent category here, but after a blistering 2021 All-Australian calibre season, Parish has been unable to carry the load since, through form issues and especially injury. The past few seasons involving himself has been talk on should he find a new club via trade, as well as become a slight afterthought regarding Essendon's best midfield mix. Then at pick 6, the Essendon Bombers take South Australian key position player Aaron Francis. That's a miss. Showed some impressive athletic glimpses at the Dons, but couldn't evolve himself into a consistent best 22 player. A trade to Sydney at the end of 2022 gave the utilities some more opportunity at both ends of the ground, but he could only establish himself as a depth at best player, eventually getting delisted at the end of this season after 30 games at the Swans. At pick 7, GWS matched Gold Coast bid for academy midfielder Jacob Hopper. Decent. Hopper became a key asset in the multitude of GWS's finals campaigns with a breakout year in 2019. Since then, the now Tiger hasn't quite been able to elevate himself into the elite tier of what you'd expect for a high pick. A solid player, but nothing to scream home about for a pick 7. Then at pick 8, Gold Coast select South Fremantle forward Callum 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐪. That's a hit. Although the Suns couldn't bear the fruit of his full potential, 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐻's past 18 months as a Brisbane Lion has pushed himself into the hit category. A popular and important figure under Chris Fagan, 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐻 starred in the 2024 final series, especially in the Big Dance, booting 4 quality snags against Sydney. In this year's grand final, his poise and composure as a defensive wingman played a big role in the Lions' back-to-back triumph. Most likely a new chapter awaits as an Adelaide Crow for this cult hero. At pick 9, the Melbourne Demons take key forward Sam Weideman from the Eastern Rangers. That's a miss. Although the D's took a patient approach with his development, Weideman in the end couldn't quite turn out to be the star key forward Melbourne hoped for. After 59 senior games in 7 seasons at Demonland, Weideman was traded to the Dons, where he played 17 games in 2 years whilst battling injury, before getting delisted at the end of 2024. At pick 10, Carlton's on the clock and they take Harry McKay, the key forward out of Gippsland. That's a hit. After leading the Blues goal kicking in back-to-back seasons in 2019 and 2020, McKay starred in 2021, booting 58 goals, which netted him a Coleman medal and All-Australian blazer. This decade, he's proven himself as a dominant aerial force inside 50 and around the ground. It will be interesting to see how he fares with the departure of his partner in crime of 𝐓𝐴𝐿 𝐸. At pick 11, the Adelaide Crows go for a local boy here, the running defender of Wayne Milera. Decent. The talented defender has unfortunately had a bumpy ride as a Crow. Injuries have plagued him, only managing 36 games in the span of 3 seasons before doing his knee early in 2024. A credit to him though, as he's arguably had a career best season in 2025 with playing 24 games. Potentially has some more to show under Matty Nicks in the near future for this exciting Crow side. Carlton's back on the clock here, and at pick 12 they take key forward 𝐵𝐴𝐿 𝐸 from Geelong. That's a hit. A successful haul no doubt from the Blues in 2015 with acquiring 2 elite calibre Coleman medal forwards within the first round. Some recurring knee issues has held 𝐸 back at times, however he's proven himself as one of the competition's best key forwards with back-to-back All-Australian inclusions and Coleman medals in 2022 and 2023. Excellent up the ground, and with his field kicking, does he get back to his very best as a new Sydney Swan? At pick 13, the Giants take the local New South Welshman midfielder Matthew Kennedy. Decent. A no home run sensation Kennedy has turned out to be, but rather has enjoyed a contributive journeyman career. The mid-forward played 2 seasons at his drafted club, then headed down south to the Blues to notch up a tick under 100 games as a valued role player. Decided for a change of environment, Kennedy moved to the Dogs via trade last season and arguably was one of the recruits of the year, considering the price the Dogs paid. With pick 14, Brisbane match Richmond's bid for Academy key forward Eric Hipwood. I'll go a hit here. Ranking 3rd in all-time goals in the 2015 draft class behind 𝐸 and Tom Papley, as well as 5th in games with 199, Brisbane have gotten a very solid return for the Academy forward. Might not be an elite player relative to the star key forwards in the league, but I've decided to opt him in the hit category, given he was an important figure in Brisbane's 2024 premiership success. Unlucky to miss out on back-to-back flags with injury late this season. Then at pick 15, the Tigers decide to select Daniel Rioli, the forward out of North Ballarat. A hit for sure. The flashy footballer became a revelation under Damien Hardwick in this second season, winning the flag deployed as an important pressure forward. The 3-time premiership player then transformed his game, moving to defence, becoming one of the competition's most energetic running defenders, rewarded with a Jack Dyer medal in 2024. The now son played an important role in the club's first season with a finals win. With pick 16, the Giants match Adelaide's bid for Academy key forward Harry Himmelberg. I'll go a hit here. Like the previous 2 picks, Himmelberg has established himself as an important role player for his club, just minus the premiership success. However, I feel the hit call is justified because of the high output he has produced, being only one of 4 players in this draft class to notch up 200 games. An aerial threat at both ends, Himmelberg now calls defence home, being a key component in Adam Kingsley's back 6. At pick 17, the Adelaide Crows then decide to select Tom Doedee, the defender from Geelong. Decent. Very similar to the player Adelaide took earlier of Wayne Milera, the intercept defender has shown he can be a force at AFL level, but his body has unfortunately let him down. Doedee only managed 83 games in 8 seasons for the Crows before moving to Brisbane as a free agent whilst recovering from an ACL injury. The horrific luck continued, rupturing the ACL for a 3rd time in early 2024. Potentially still has some fuel in the tank as a Brisbane line, being able to notch up a mixture of senior and reserve games in 2025. With pick 18, the Saints are on the clock and they decide to take general forward Jade Gresham out of the Northern Knights. Decent. The small forward booted a fair 136 goals in 136 games as a Saint before heading to Essendon via free agency at the end of 2023. Gresham produced a solid output for his drafted side and has gone soundly at his new club, but nothing to jump out of your seat for a first round pick, hence the decent call here. With pick 19, the Hawks take general defender Ryan Burton from North Adelaide. Decent. Burton was progressing well as a Hawk in his first few seasons, but became part of the Chad Wingard trade at the end of 2018, moving to play for his hometown club. Although he now might be out of the league after getting delisted from Port Adelaide, the running defender played 115 games at Alberton, so I can't justify putting a player in the miss category for having a name on the locker. With pick 20, the Gold Coast Suns select Braden Fiorini, the midfielder from the Northern Knights. Decent. Like the past few decent picks we've gone over, Fiorini falls into the same boat. An average to above average player who has notched up over a respectable 100 games for an AFL side. The left-footed midfielder arguably had a career best season in 2025, being a part of the club's first final series and win. His match experience should complement a young and rebuilding Essendon side well, heading to the Dons via trade for the up-and-coming 2026 season. With pick 21, Melbourne select the other twin brother of Ben McKay, the key defender from Gippsland. Decent. Though he hasn't quite been able to match the elite output relative to his brother, Ben was more of a slow-burn product for North Melbourne, featuring more as a consistent best 22 player in the early 2020s. A fair and a set mark of the footy, his 2023 season caught Essendon's eye, earning himself a lucrative deal via free agency. Played every game in his first season at the new club and ranked highly in the best and fairest, but needs to get his body right, with managing only 10 games in 2025. With pick 22, Hawthorn back on the clock here and they take midfielder Kieran Lovell from Tasmania. That's a miss. Although he was the Tasmanian MVP and All-Australian recipient in the Under-18 National Championships, the midfielder was unable to showcase his skill set at the top level. He played 2 games in his debut season, then unfortunately missed a chunk of his second year with a long-term shoulder injury. He helped Box Hill win the VFL Premiership in 2018, but with 0 senior games that season, he was delisted from the Hawks. Then to finish off the first round at pick 23, the Carlton Blues take midfielder forward David Cunningham from Oakley. That is unfortunately a miss. To this day, I'm sure many Carlton supporters can vouch that this man was a talented footballer. Sadly, Cunningham was dealt with roadblock after roadblock of soft tissue and long-term injuries, only playing 30 games in his first 7 seasons at the Blues. 2023 would be his best season, featuring in the back half of that year in the Blues' prelim final push as an impactful high half forward. Then, with only 5 games in 2024, he was delisted at the end of that season. So everyone, there is the 2015 AFL draft class done and dusted for this episode of Hit, Miss or Decent. If you wish, let me know down below if you'd like a specific draft class for me to do next. And of course, I do have to acknowledge all the footballers that were drafted. It is a pretty special achievement. Great to see many players in this video go on and have successful careers. That's what it's all about. And that's pretty much it from me in this video today, lads. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you do come to enjoy. And until next time, I'll talk to you later. See you later, fellas.